Hey, Future Sailor Jones, Navy's next, whatever you want to call me. But this video is going to be on the 11 general orders of a sentry. And if those of you that don't know what a sentry is, it's just pretty much those who stand watch. They're considered the sentry. So one thing that's important is not only memorizing like your Sailor's Creed and your 11 General Orders or your RTC Maxim, or just memorizing things out of your Start Guide period. The important thing is to not only memorize it, but to be knowledgeable of what it is that you're talking about. So 11 General Orders of a Sentry are pretty much just orders that you must abide by while standing watch. Again, for me, of course, I read them over and over again, but it was still, I would still mix words up and things like that. So I also recorded my general orders and continued to listen to them over and over again. Make sure you understand what they mean. So I'll do a rundown. Pretty confident that I know them all. So here it goes. Oh, and also, whenever you sound off on your general orders, make sure you address your petty officer or chief. For example, if your petty officer asks you what's your first general order, you need to sound off the salutations of petty officer. My first general order is to take charge of this post and all government property in view. Petty officer. Simple as that. So I'll do a rundown of 1 through 11, and yeah, hopefully it helps some of you guys out there. Like I said, for me, recording them was cool, and also my recruiter, he came up with little ways to remember, like say number 9 is to call the officer of the deck in any case not covered by instructions. So he was saying, like, with the number 9, if you think of like 911 as in calling the police, is like calling the officer of the deck. So that's like 911. What other thing did he say? I don't know. I think he said like 7 kind of reminds you of like a phone, so it's like to talk to no one except in the line of duty. So little things like that, may also help. But again, for me, it was recording them and listening to them over and over again. I'm a music head, so I catch on the songs really quickly. So I figured that would be the easiest way for me to remember them all. All right, so I'll start off. First general order is to take charge of this post and all government property in view. Second general order, to walk my post in a military manner, keeping always on the alert and observing everything that takes place within sight or hearing. Number 3, to report all violations of orders I am instructed to enforce. Number 4, to repeat all calls more distant from the guardhouse than my own. Wait, that ain't right. Number 4, to repeat all calls from posts more distant from the guardhouse than my own. Number 5, to equip my posts only when properly relieved. Number 6, which is the doozy. 6 and 11 are usually the ones that people get tripped up on. So number 6 is to receive, obey, and pass on to the sentry who relieves me all orders from the commanding officer, command duty officer, officer of the deck, and officers and petty officers of the watch only. Number 7, to talk to no one except in the line of duty. Number 8, to give the alarm in case of fire or disorder. Number 9, to call the officer of the deck in any case not covered by instructions. Number 10, to salute all officers in all colors and standards, not case. Number 11 is the other doozy. Okay. The 11th general order: to be especially watchful at night and during the time for challenging, to challenge to challenge all persons on or near my post, and to allow no one to pass without proper authority. Excuse me for getting tripped up on my words. My tongue kind of goes sometimes. But yeah, those are the 11 general orders. Also, you could throw the 12th one in there. The chief is always right. And I think there's a 13th one that they say also. I'm not really sure how it goes. Something about walk my post from flank to flank and take no shit from any rank. I believe that's how it goes. But yeah, those are the 11 general orders, which are super duper important to know prior to going to RTC, just as well as your Sailor's Creed. Because at any given time, your RDC is going to walk up to you and it's going to ask you, what's your, sixth general order? And I think a lot of times, from what I've heard, they usually aim for the 6th and 11th one because so many people get tripped up because they're the longest and people feel like they're the hardest to memorize. So it's very important that you recite them word for word and get into the habit of addressing your petty officers or your chiefs. So when you practice, it's best to practice how I said, saying, petty officer, my 4th general order is to repeat all calls from posts more distant from the guardhouse than my own, petty officer. So you always open and close with whatever the person's rank is. I think that's pretty much it. So, like I said, memorize them the best way you know how. There's little tricks to memorizing them. You can come up with your own. Also, don't only memorize them, but make sure you understand what they mean and how important they are. Because at some point in time, you will be standing watch. So it's just very important to know all the rules and regulations that you have to abide by while standing watch, because those standing watch, they're the ones out there that's going to have to report anything that they see or hear, which, that's following your 2nd general order. To walk my post in a military manner, keeping always on the alert and observing everything that takes place within sight or hearing. So all those things are very important. So make sure that you not only memorize but understand them thoroughly. So that's pretty much it. Those are the 11 general orders. Later, folks.